up, Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
Hello, brothers and fathers and perchance uncles. Welcome to the Man Dome on the Joe Brogan Experience. Today I'm joined with what the New York Times calls an intellectual gladiator of the right, Ben Shapiro. How's it been going?
It's been going...
Anyway, I was wondering if you would like to have a manly and meaningful and moral and exemplary and superior discussion around gun control, you know? Like, what's your take on, like, the gun issues in America? I mean, there's just so many tragic shootings in this country. Thoughts and prayers. Like, I mean, surely this is an issue that needs to be addressed, like, you know, somewhat.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely tragic and heartbreaking, the amount of lives that are lost. Thoughts and prayers. The fact that there are these crazy people out here killing people is awful. Thoughts and God prayers, you know? We need more guns in the hands of good, honest civilians. That way we can protect innocent lives of children and the like.
Yeah, but don't you think we should be reducing the amount of people with intent to harm or shoot up schools by having stricter gun laws? Like, wouldn't that take that down a little bit?
Okay. So look, according to natural law theory, everyone has a natural, God-given right to life, which therefore includes the right to a reasonable means of self-defense, hypothetically speaking. The very fact that there are these left-wing losers trying to take away our guns, our liberty, put them in the hands of the state, and in some way contribute to the amount of gun violence in this country, because, you know, ultimately criminals will access guns regardless of if it's banned. So what you're stopping is good, honest Americans from defending themselves from bad men.
But Ben, buddy, pal, legend, don't you agree that we should act to others only how we wish to be treated? Personally, I don't want to be shot, so therefore, other people probably also don't want to be shot. Kant's categorical imperative states that we should always act according to a universal maxim, so that it will become a universal law. I don't know about you, pal, but not killing anybody sounds like a pretty good law to me.
Well, I can't agree with you. How about you tell me about these crazy guys shooting up the schools? They aren't acting according to a universal maxim. We should have the right to shoot them in self-defense.
Well, that's why we shouldn't even have guns in the country in the first place. Don't you even see that?
Okay. Let's move past the issues of mass shooters, who, by the way, shouldn't be able to access guns anyway. What we're doing is what they're doing, at least, is a morally wrong action. It violates the first law in natural law theory, saying that we should preserve and not deprive of life. They're also violating the idea that we should educate our offspring. By doing violence, they're scaring the itty-bitty kiddies from going to learn. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, because some old guy breaks into your home, should the old lady with arthritis who owns that house not have a right to shoot that bastard and be like, gosh, Dad, revolver?
Well, maybe that robber had no other choice but to rob that woman. Maybe they're mentally ill, or they've been driven to that point of desperation by poverty. It doesn't make it okay, but it also doesn't make it okay to kill that person. Surely, there are other non-lethal forms of self-defense a person could employ, or perhaps you could just call the police and wait. According to Kant, no matter the exact circumstances of the scenario or the result, we should act consistently every time as a principle. Don't shoot people. Don't shoot people. Don't ever shoot people.
Well, the facts don't care about your feelings. If you're going to have access to a form of protection, you should surely have access to something hypothetically powerful and lethal, like a Colt M1911 or an AK-47 or an AR-15 or an M4 or a Beretta or a Glock 17 or a Glock 18 or a Glock 19 back with a vengeance or a Spaz or an M1 Garand.
I think that...
Hey, Joe, do you play Genshin Impact? Sorry to bring this up so suddenly. I just got a notification on my phone telling me a new season has dropped, so it's time to drop some cash on some pulls when I get home, if you perchance get what I'm saying.
No, Ben, I don't play Genshin Impact. I think it's really strange and satanic. I've been really grinding some more Stardew Valley lately. Just sold 100 Iridium quality Asian fruit wine. Going to buy the golden clock when I get home. I also just hit 10 hearts with Shane. Also need to get some crab pots for the fishing bundle. Okay, so Ben, what's your response to this idea that we should act consistently with how the laws of the universe operate? You know, we shouldn't just defend and kill, but we should, as principle, not kill even people who are trying to kill us. Because that way it creates this universal kind of, you know, cohesion and experience and shared reality. And I think if we break that by having, you know, self-defense via lethal means, it's kind of inherently not a very good idea. I don't know, but that's just me. What's your take?
Well, I, Ben Shapiro, canonically is a utilitarian, and I believe that we should always make sure that people have the most access to life, just as Thomas Aquinas said. way back when, in the good old days when we could have slaves. So everybody should always have the access and right to life, which is something which is inherently within us, as natural law theory tells us.
But, does someone forfeit their right to life just by attacking you or robbing you? I mean, as I said before, they could be desperate. I mean, does that really forfeit their life to life? I mean, they could be forfeiting their right to life if they don't act, Hypothetically. Wait, that's not my thing. I'm smoking weed. I'm Joe Brogan, by the way.
Well, as the host of the Daily Wire, I would have to say that I think that yes, they do forfeit their right to life. Because what they're doing is they're acting in such a way that it deprives me of my right to living a nice life. And they're not living in society, as another one of Thomas Aquinas' rules under natural law theory. You should try to live in society, something which they are not doing, and I should thus be able to deprive them of living and going back to see their families and their children.
Joe, have you seen the Mu Essentials chart? Some banger albums. I misclicked on the board whilst browsing Paul, but oh my god, I discovered so many great things. Have you heard Death Consciousness by Have a Nice Life, Joe?
Ben, have you listened to The Money Store by Death Grips? It's this pretty crazy band of these guys, and they're like screaming. It's like pretty crazy, bro.
Oh, I love Death Grips. I heard Gutfeld promoting it on his segment of Fox News.
So if you want to listen to 100 Gets, get their new album. Killing Joke, KMFDM, Death Grips. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, bro. Have you seen this video of like this monkey who goes up to this, it's pretty crazy. He goes up to this carriage and he steals the baby from the carriage and runs away. That's insane.
Anyhow, as Thomas Aquinas thought, lethal public force is intended to be justice rather than a killing, something Aquinas did stand for. He doesn't see that as a violation of the first natural good. He also did think that private individuals could use force in order to protect oneself, as guns should be used, as long as they're used in an intentionally non-lethal manner.
So Kant believes that morality is self-contained. It's not inherently linked to God. What do you have to say about that, Ben?
Well, Thomas Aquinas said that all men have in them the quote-unquote good of nature, something given to them because they're created by a perfect and good God.
Well, that's so cool, Ben, but have you seen this? Jamie, pull up the tweet. Look, this is Trump, and he's tweeting at A$AP Rocky, the rapper, and he's been in jail, and look what he's saying. He's saying, it's been a rocky road, get home ASAP, ASAP. Wow, that's pretty crazy. What do you think about that, Jamie?
Well, I think he's a fake
I didn't
musician.
ask you, Ben Shapiro.
Okay.
Shut the fuck up when you're on my show.
Sorry,
I asked my
sorry.
lovely co-host Jamie here. What do you have to say?
Wow.
I mean, I just think that your takes on gun violence are, not the best. I just feel like maybe we should entertain the idea that taking away guns, even if some people will still have access to them, will ultimately prevent more deaths because it'll get rid of this norm and stigma. I mean, look at Australia. I mean, that's a shithole of a country. But they had one mass shooting and they eradicated guns, and now it's just so not thought about. It's not considered. And I get that that might be more difficult in America because guns are such a hobby and part of the culture. But don't you think it would be a good idea to at least slowly roll out some initiatives and ideas? What's your take on that?
Well, I think, of course, that not everybody should have access to guns. Just like those mass shooters depriving people of life and stopping people from educating their offspring and stopping reproduction. But if I get killed by some horrible Afghani terrorist or some Iranian terrorist, right, I won't be able to reproduce. And reproduction, as we know, is the second basic good in natural law theory, right? And secondly, why didn't you think about this? By not having guns, I'm not learning about guns, I'm shunning ignorance, right? That's what I'm doing by learning about guns, by expanding my mind, my cerebral cortex, as the scientists call it. I am an avid scientist myself.
Your wife's a doctor, I believe.
Yes, well, she's a doctor of both the brain and the body, sexually, as you might say. But anyhow, as I don't want to use that S word again, as I try to avoid offense, which is the sixth of the basic goods of natural law theory.
Bro, Bush did 9/11, dude. I saw that in a crazy trip I had once.
You millennial leftists who've never lived one day under nuclear threat can now reflect upon your woke sky. You made quite a non-binary fuss to save the world from intercontinental ballistic tweets.
I don't know if you've noticed, Joe, but I'm unfuckable.
Mobile games are not real games. Put down the baby games and play something that requires challenge and skill for once.
What the f did you just say to me, you little bitch? I'll have you know I graduated top of my class in the Navy SEALs, and I've been involved in numerous secret raids in Al-Qaeda, and I have over 300 confirmed kills. I've trained in guerrilla warfare, and I'm the top sniper in the entire US Armed Forces. You are nothing to me but another target. I'll wipe the f out with precision the likes which has never been seen before on this earth, mark my f***ing words.
Well, you know, that's pretty crazy, and I think we've learned a lot today about gun violence and, you know, natural law theory and the categorical imperative. Immanuel Kant, one of the best philosophers. So, you know, in conclusion, this has been a good episode of the Joe Brogan Experience. Next week is going to be Jaden Gomez from Bible Basics and Beyond. He's coming on the podcast.
I love that guy.
We're going to talk God, guns, and Gordon Ramsay, of all things.
Oh yeah, I've heard he's very into cooking.
He's a very good chef, kind of like that show, The Bear, on Disney Plus.
I love that show.
Gotta say,
so many strong white male characters.
Oh my god, I love that strong one. I'm dying of lung cancer because I took too much ivermectin to cure my COVID-19. Anyway, I'll see you on the next episode of the Joe Brogan Experience. Stay safe, stay happy, and stay unvaccinated.
Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes.